Because I'm always reading two books at once, one for the podcast and one for my own enjoyment, I thought I would start chucking on short reviews of the books I'm reading for my own enjoyment. So, first one of these is going to be the one that I've just finished, which is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. It focuses around a young female protagonist called Olivia Pryor. She has a verbal disability. She can't speak. She can see ghouls, apparitions of dead people. She's an orphan, but she gets a letter saying that she has a family home and that she's wanted there. And so she leaves the orphanage and goes there. And it's this place called Gallant. And it basically sits on a threshold between the world Olivia knows and this kind of darker, magical realm, which calls out to Olivia and people in her family in their dreams and tries to lure them in. So I would describe this as a sort of spooky fantasy. I chose it because it's a standalone novel. It's not part of a series, and I was trying not to get into another 3 or 5 book series because I'm about 1 or 2 books into about 5 different series at the moment. But overall, absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant in terms of the world building, how the magic works, how she sees ghouls and how that kind of relates to her family and what that then leads to. It's set, I think, kind of post World War One is how I imagined it. It didn't necessarily specifically say that. It said it referred to things that had happened in the war. So I said it in my head post World War One. And yeah, it's not like a super technological age. So it made this kind of big country house that's very spooky feel quite isolated and alone, and that it was a problem they had to solve. Loved that. And this kind of magical realm was sort of dreamlike, but not nice dream, kind of like nightmarish, sort of stuck in this dark world where it's very kind of greys and blacks and, you know, darkness. It's not kind of a colourful world. So you've got a nice contrast there. Character's brilliant. Loved Olivia. She's this kind of feisty, fiery character, but she's got verbal disability, which means that kind of we get her feistiness as a reader because we're kind of with her in her head, but other people that she's trying to communicate with don't necessarily get that side of her. The ancillary characters are used really well to kind of complement her, and the plot absolutely held together from start to finish. We have nice tie-ups from very early on where Olivia's got this diary that's her mother's diary, and it contains these kind of crazed ramblings seemingly before she disappeared, but as we work towards the end and she finds out more about her mother's history, it all starts to make more sense. Yeah, I think to say any more would be to reveal spoilers that would ruin the book for you. So I'll leave it there and say that I do recommend this. My only intrigue is around, I listened to this via the audio book. I thought it was very interesting that although we have a protagonist who is a female, a young female, and that's the only person that we see the whole story through, that the narrator in the audiobook was an older man who absolutely did a brilliant job and brought the story to life. No critique of his performance, but I just thought it was interesting that the story focused on a female and kind of seeing the world through her eyes, but on an audiobook level, having it narrated by a man. But I just thought it was an interesting choice. Anyway, let me know if you've read Gallant, what you thought of it, or if there are any other kind of standalone, quite short fantasy novels that are worth a one-off read. I'd love to hear in the comments, so let me know.